Hello, beautiful people. My name is Fidel Omar Rodriguez. I'm going to be your instructor for your Math 100 online section this coming semester, the spring of 2023. So I wanted to make this video to introduce myself and then kind of give you guys a breakdown of how our Blackboard page is going to work. So at the top of the Blackboard page, if you're watching this video, this was the first link, okay? So let me just kind of give you a rundown. Under this, you guys, there's going to be a little folder that says welcome. Really what's going to be in there is the course description, which is going to talk about what topics we're going to cover. And I try to give you a little bit of advice about what I think you need to do well in the class. Make sure, that you put some time into it. I think a lot of times people sort of have the wrong idea about an online class, like, oh, it's less work. It's actually more work because you're not going to class twice a week and that kind of thing. So anyway, I just wanted to give you some heads up on this stuff. The second thing is going to be a little meet your instructor. It's just a little tab you click on. It's just going to have some information about me, where I went to school, what I do in my free time, that kind of stuff. If you're interested, read it. If not, that's okay. The next thing on our list is the course syllabus. So the course syllabus is important, y'all. I have a calendar towards the bottom of the course syllabus, but somewhere in the middle is going to talk about our breakdown in terms of our grades, because that's a pretty important part. So we're going to have some homework, we're going to have some quizzes, we're actually going to have like 4 regular tests and a final. Before, in my online class, I used to just do a midterm and a final, and part of the problem with that was if you messed up on one of them, that was a big part of your grade. So here there's a little bit more flexibility. Also, test 1 covers, the first test is only over 2 chapters, the second one's only over 2. Before there was like 4 or 5 chapters on each exam. So it makes it, it's like smaller chunks. So that part's important. Make sure you do read through that. There's some information about a textbook. So just real quickly, let me tell you about the textbook. For our class, guys, we're going to be using this software because this is an online class. We're using this software called My Lab, or it used to be called My Math Lab. Some of you may have heard of it. You don't actually have to buy a physical textbook. You do have to purchase the software, okay? So let me give you 2 things about the software. Number 1, you can buy it through the publishing company. And there's gonna be a video on how you can do all this stuff. But you can buy it through the publishing company. I've had students before who have purchased it like through Amazon and eBay and stuff like that. Almost every one of my students has not had any problems. Last semester, I had one student who did have some issues with it. So I'm not going to advise you to do it. Again, I had one student last semester who had some issues. Most people don't. I don't exactly know what the issue was, but it took her some while to get it resolved. The software is mandatory, okay? So you don't need the textbook, but you do have to buy the software. When you get the software, there's a link in the software that comes with something called the e-text. The e-text is an online version of the book. It comes up as a PDF, so you can always access the textbook that way. Now, if you decide to go to the bookstore, whether you go to the bookstore at the Star Campus, Pecan Campus, Mid-Valley, and actually any of the other ones, you should be able to find the textbook there along with the MyLab software. It's going to be more expensive if you actually buy the book with the software, but I believe they also have the code for the software there at the bookstores as well, okay? If you purchase the code online, it's going to give you 2 options. Do you want the 16-week option or do you want the 2-year option? What I always tell my students is, if you think that you're going to make it through the class this semester, go for the 16-week. Or it's 18 weeks or something like that. Our class is 16 weeks, so you'll have enough time. If you're uncertain, will I pass the class the first time? Then I usually tell people go for the other one, simply because if you have to take it again, so it's suppose you don't make it this semester and you have to take it in the summertime, you'd have to buy a new code all over again, right? And it's cheaper to spend a little bit more now in case you need it, okay? But I just wanted to give you a heads up on that. Let's see. After the syllabus, there's my contact info. So it has my name, my email address, my office hours. So y'all, before the pandemic, I always taught in McAllen. I always taught at the Pecan campus. For the last year and a half, I've been going to the Mid-Valley campus in Wesco. So I don't have an office there. I usually do my office hours either in the classroom or there's an adjunct office, but I don't have like my own phone there. So what I did during the pandemic is I created a Google number, and it rings on my mobile phone, rings on my cell phone. So you can call me on that number if you need to. No text messages, please, guys. I'll talk to you about how you can message me. And then obviously be reasonable, right? Like if you wanted to contact me and you wouldn't call me at 10 o'clock at night at the office, don't call me at 10 o'clock at night at home either, right? So make it reasonable, like 9 to 5, something like that. But anyway, office hours, contact information are going to be there. The next thing is, because this is an online class, what I did, y'all, I wanted to make this experience for you guys as much of like if you were in person with me. So what I did is I made all my own lecture videos. I sat there in front of my laptop. I made these lecture videos. I walk you through the process as if you were sitting there with me. I've uploaded all of those lecture videos to a playlist that I have on my own YouTube channel. So the next link you're going to see is a Math 100 YouTube playlist. All the sections are in order, 0.1, 0.2, all the way through the whole course, right? So I have that there because underneath the YouTube playlist, I have a folder that has course notes. So and it's going to have course notes and formula sheets. I do have a 20 by 20 multiplication table. It's already filled out. I know you might be saying, why do I need a multiplication table? Trust me, it's going to be really helpful for our class. But you can access the notes, and when you pull up the notes, say for the first part, the first link is like the chapter 0 and 1 notes, chapter 0 and chapter 1. What you see on the notes is what you see me going through on those videos in YouTube, okay? And so I walk you through it. And so what I really like for you guys to do, and I'll talk to you about this in a minute, is get a copy of the notes, whether you print them out, or I know some people have iPads and you use Notability, so you're writing it on your laptop or whatever. But I'm actually asking you to kind of go through that, like watch me follow along, write some notes as you're going through it, because that's me trying to teach you the material, okay? Underneath the folder that has the course notes is a link for MyLab. That's the software we're going to be using. And so you'll click that link to go ahead and get started on the software. Don't click on it just yet. The folder underneath that, there's quite a few folders, is the weekly activities folder. What that is, that's telling you this is what we're going to do in week 1, this is what we're going to do in week 2, this is what we're going to do in week 3, so on and so forth. So the way I'm trying to run our class, y'all, is I'm trying to do everything 2 weeks at a time. So right now, when you click on that week 1 folder, or the weekly activities folder, week 1 and week 2 are going to be ready. When you click on week 1, it's a little introduction. The first thing is I show you how you can create your MyLab account. That's why I want you to, there's a document there, but then there's also a little video on how I walk you through it. So watch the video, right? So you can see how this is how you create your account if you've never used MyLab before. And then I say, look, access the notes for chapter 0 and 1. And in week 1, we're going to do 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, right? So you'll look at the notes for 0.1, you'll watch that video. And then once you've created your account in MyLab, then you'll go into MyLab and you'll do the homework assignment for 0.1. And then you'll go look at the notes and watch the video for 0.2. And once you do that, then you go back into MyLab and click on the homework assignment for 0.2 and go ahead and get that one done, right? Same thing for 0.3 and 0.4. In that week 1 folder, you're going to see a document that kind of tells you this is what we're going to do. These are when the assignments are due. And then underneath that, there'll actually be the link to the assignment for 0.1. So you have options. You can either go back to the main MyMathLab link once you've created your account and you'll be able to see all your assignments, or you can click on the individual links for each of those assignments, all right? So I just kind of wanted to give you a heads up on that stuff. Let's see. The next thing I have is a link for something called Pronto. So Pronto is kind of like WhatsApp for STC, right? So it's a messaging system. I encourage you to download it either to your phone or your tablet or something like that. You don't necessarily have to. But what I do in our class, y'all, especially because this is an online course, if you're working on a homework assignment and you get stuck on a problem, I want you to do me a favor. I want you to take your phone, take a picture of that problem, message me directly on Pronto. And you can tell me, Mr. Rodriguez, I'm struggling with this problem. Can you help me out? What I'm going to do is I have an iPad. I'm going to upload your problem to like a little dry erase board. I'm going to record. I'm going to do a recording of me working out the problem. I walk you through it. I talk you through what I'm doing. I upload that problem then to YouTube, and I send it to the entire class. And I don't say, hey, listen, Dencha asked me this question, or Javier asked me this question. I just said, hey guys, somebody in our class had a question on this problem. Here's a video on how to work it out. I've been doing this since actually just before the pandemic, and my students really find it helpful because number one, they can ask questions without being reserved about, is Mr. Rodriguez going to call me out? Is he going to say, I asked a question? I'm never going to say that. I'm just going to say somebody in our class asked. The other thing is, maybe you haven't gotten to that question yet. And when you get to it, you're like, man, how do I do this? You know what? Mr. Rodriguez sent a video yesterday. Let me go and check. And now you have that problem done. Because usually if somebody has a question on a problem, there's usually at least 3 or 4 others that do as well. Okay, so I wanted to give you a heads up on that. Now, guys, one thing I will say is the Pronto link is always going to be there in our Blackboard page. So if you click on that link, you'll see the messages that are being sent. So do you have to absolutely download it to your phone? No, you don't. If you don't have any questions, you don't necessarily need to. But if you start asking me, sir, how do I do this, how do I do that? I may tell you, hey, I just did this. I just sent a video for that same problem yesterday. Go into Pronto and take a look at it, okay? The other thing I would tell you to do is when you're actually going to watch me do the little video for the problems, do it. It's probably easier if you watch it either on your iPad or a laptop or something like that, or even a PC. It's hard to look at it like on it. I don't have my phone with me right now, but it's hard to watch it on a little phone screen. You know what I mean? It's kind of hard to see sometimes. So watch it on on something bigger, right? The one thing I've had people before tell me is like, sir, I have to turn off the notifications on my Pronto because sometimes people are sending messages at 4 or 5 in the morning or 3 in the morning. And it's waking me up. So yeah, I definitely understand that too. So if you do download it to your phone, and you decide to turn off notifications, by all means. I have mine on my iPad, guys, and I don't have my notifications on, okay? Let's see. 2 more things. The next thing after that is a link to STC Tutoring. So it's going to take you to the tutoring page for the college. You'll be able to look for tutors depending on what campus is closest to you. So if you live in if you live in La Grulla, you might want to go to the Starr County campus for tutoring. If you live in Mercedes, you might want to go to the Mid-Valley campus for tutoring. If you live in McAllen or Mission, maybe, Pecan's closest to you. So you'll be able to find, the tutors, the tutoring hours, right? Because it's the general STC tutoring page. Sorry, the neighbor's dog's barking. I'm doing this outside, you can tell. But it also has access to, you can do online tutoring. So I don't exactly know what their hours are, but you do have the option of doing online tutoring. So if you live outside of the valley, right, and coming in is not really an option for you, or you just don't feel like coming in, you also have that option is there, and there'll be a link somewhere there. You just got to look for it, okay? The last thing on our page, guys, is the link to course evaluations. It's an opportunity for you guys to evaluate me. It doesn't open up till probably sometime in like mid-April. And so, if you clicked on it now, it wouldn't take you anywhere. It'd say the evaluation isn't ready because we kind of have to go through at least 2/3 or 3/4 of the course. But anyway, that's basically how our classes can be set up. I'm going to send you guys announcements every week on Blackboard. I'm going to send you messages probably twice a week on Pronto, just checking in with you guys. I send a message every Friday saying, I hope everybody has a nice weekend. I hope you guys are staying safe. The pandemic is not over, right? I mean, it's over and we have vaccines and masks and all that kind of stuff, but people are still getting sick. So just take care of yourselves, right? Guys, one thing I wanted to say, to me, the most important thing is your health and your family's health and you and your family's well-being. So at some point, if something happens where like, sir, listen, I didn't get an opportunity to complete the last homework because my child was sick and I was having to, send me a message, okay? I'll give you an extension. On the same token, guys, if you're messaging me, usually when I reply is during my office hours. Again, there'll be a link there so you can see what my office hours are. So if you're messaging me and I'm not responding to you, and if it's during my office hours, I'm going to get back to you right away, right? But if it's not during my office hours, it's because I'm doing something with my family as well, right? I think that's the most important thing. I hope that out of, from the pandemic, I think that's something that a lot of us kind of realized what's more important, right? My work, my school, my job, my family. My family is always going to be number one, right? And it probably should have been number one to begin with. But I understand how, sometimes we let other things get in the way. Anyway, I wish you all the best of luck. I want to know that I'm here to help you guys. Anything I can do to help you guys, I'm willing to do. Guys, the one thing I will say, keep up with the assignments, okay? Like I said, everything is going to open up for 2 weeks. So you're going to see the week 1 materials and what you have to do and the assignments and when they're due, along with the week 2. And they're all going to be due at the end of the second week. Now, I don't encourage you to say, well, you know what, if it's not due until February 3rd or 4th or whatever, why don't I wait until then? That's not a good idea, right? I set it up that way so that if something happens, you have some flexibility. But I encourage you, whatever you should be doing in week 1, whatever I have to do for week 1, get it done in the first week. Whatever I have to do in the second week, get it done the second. If you want to get ahead, if you decide to do week 1 and week 2 early, and you get it done before the deadline, that's fine. But if you're waiting until 2 days before everything's done and trying to do everything, it doesn't work out, right? The easiest way I can explain to it is I can say, look, we're going to go to the gym 3 days a week, right? And we're going to do these 3 exercises, these 3 body parts, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 1 week. And we're going to do these the second week, right? And we're going to get assessed at the end of that second week. We could say, well, why don't I just go the last 2 days of the second week and go to the gym at 8 in the morning and leave at 5 in the afternoon? We're not going to hang, right? We're not going to be able to do it. So that's why I have it set up this way, okay? Anyway, I hope you guys are doing well. You got any questions, please let me know. I want to help you guys get through this class, and I'll see you guys soon, okay? Bye-bye.